Haters? Where are my haters at?
Alan Ritchson laughing off the haters just days after this neighborhood brawl went viral.
Get out of your mind. What? Stay down.
A brutal fight involving Alan Ritchson has shaken fans and those closest to him. What began as a tense moment quickly turned into a disturbing scene caught on camera, raising serious questions about accountability and reputation. How does someone known for strong, controlled roles lose grip in real life, and what pushed it that far? The incident unfolded near his home, witnessed by family, and quickly drew attention. With reports clashing and a decision now looming, one detail inside this case may change how everything is seen, but nothing is fully clear yet. The violent altercation unfolded. In a quiet suburb near Nashville, a heated confrontation erupted that immediately drew attention and concern. Alan Ritchson, known for his formidable roles on screen, was caught on camera delivering multiple punches to a man who was on his knees before him. The video shows the actor striking the man 4 times, an unexpected scene that contrasted sharply with his usual public persona. This violent clash took place just steps away from Ritchson's home, an unusual setting for such a public disturbance. 2 of Ritchson's sons were nearby on motorbikes, watching from a few feet away as the incident unfolded. The presence of family added a layer of complexity and raised questions about what provoked such a visible escalation. Eyewitnesses and onlookers immediately captured and shared the footage, amplifying the incident's reach across social media and entertainment news outlets. While the fight itself was brief, its repercussions have drawn intense scrutiny. The man involved, later identified as Ronnie Taylor, appeared to sustain visible injuries, with contusions photographed after the altercation. His face showed the marks of the encounter, which became central to the growing debate over who initiated the fight. This visual evidence only fueled public curiosity, leaving many wondering what circumstances led to such a confrontation. Yet, in the immediate aftermath, much remained unclear and shrouded in conflicting accounts. Although the footage lays bare part of the encounter, it captures only a fragment of the story. This incomplete picture has made it difficult to understand the full context or motivations behind each person's actions. The quick escalation from confrontation to physical violence left many questioning whether this was a sudden loss of temper or something deeper. As the incident gained headlines, speculation ran rampant about what really triggered the scene. The peaceful neighborhood where the fight happened experiences its first violent disturbance, according to its record. The violence appeared out of place because it created a sharp contrast between 2 different states of existence. The nearby residents expressed their surprise because the community had never experienced such intense events before. The situation described 2 different states of existence, which reached their peak through unexpected events that happened between them. Alan Ritchson developed his public character through years of acting roles, which required him to perform physical combat scenes as well as show heroic traits. People began to question what this fight revealed about the man behind the screen persona. The incident showed 2 different sides of him, which required a choice between normal behavior and a personal way of life. The public maintained its focus on the case because it waited for new information to emerge. The police decided against the immediate arrest of Ritchson because they needed to conduct a detailed investigation of the main offense. The method used to study the case showed how difficult it was to determine who started the fight. The absence of swift legal action only heightened anticipation about what the final judgment might be. Every new update would be closely examined by fans and critics alike. The emerging tensions surrounding the event indicated that hidden forces and previous events had created the conditions that led to the single outburst which everyone witnessed. The story development required time because new information about public opinion changes who the story will be told to. The original video footage, which showed a brief incident, now expanded into a complex situation that involved both reputation issues and effects. People continued to observe the fight because it created unsolved issues that needed more than video evidence to resolve. The complete facts about the violent incident remained unknown, including the outcomes that would affect each participant. The story required thorough examination because its conclusion needed time to reach complete comprehension. The perspective of the neighbor at the center of this event offers crucial insight into how the conflict began and why it escalated so dramatically. The neighbor's perspective. Ronnie Taylor, The man who faced Alan Ritchson's punches shared his version of events with reporters and authorities, providing context that complicates the incident. Taylor says he was prompted to confront Ritchson because of dangerous behavior in the neighborhood, specifically speeding and loud driving that disturbed the otherwise peaceful streets. His motivation, he claims, was a request for consideration, not conflict. This attempt to address a community issue quickly spiraled into violence. According to Taylor, the dispute began with him asking Ritchson to slow down and stop the reckless driving. He recounts that the actor's response was aggressive and immediate, according to Taylor's account. The situation escalated swiftly, catching Taylor off guard and pushing the exchange toward physical aggression. These accusations have sparked debate about who was truly at fault. Taylor's claim also includes an allegation that before the fight, Alan tried to push him off a motorbike twice, a move that Taylor asserts provoked his reaction. This version suggests a struggle for control even before the punches were thrown. The witness video does not show these earlier moments, leaving those details unverified, but central to Taylor's narrative. His account portrays him as reacting to provocation rather than starting the confrontation. Despite his injuries and visible bruises, Taylor has expressed a desire for clarity and justice, emphasizing that his intention was never to escalate tensions but to maintain neighborhood safety. This framing casts him more as a concerned citizen than an instigator. His openness about the injuries sustained adds weight to his claims and evokes sympathy from many viewers. The neighborhood is known to Taylor because he grew up there. Yet, people see him as an outsider because he works as an actor. The noise and speeding violations from his protest demonstrate a common complaint that neighbors share because of their relationship with him. The wider situation helps us understand why the fight started between the two people. The Taylor account, which spread through media outlets, caused fans and observers to split into different groups. Some people believed his injury affected his ability to tell the story, while others thought his explanation showed how tensions develop. The different opinions showed that a basic complaint can lead to unexpected results. Taylor kept the public interest in his dispute with the public because he chose to speak about his problems, which showed that he and the community needed to learn from his mistakes. His vocal presence challenges the image of a star, while he enables people to discover more about what happened beyond the exciting news. It shows people that personal conflicts include several different parts. His story prediction shows important information that will come later because the complete story needs to show more than the video evidence that currently exists. People should examine the situation because its complicated nature requires them to suspend judgment until new evidence emerges. The next phase of the process will lead to understanding Alan Ritchson's viewpoint. Taylor's version of the conflict strongly influences public opinion, making how Ritchson responds critical to the unfolding drama and its resolution. Alan Ritchson's response. Alan Ritchson's camp has responded by pushing back against claims that he was the aggressor in the incident. According to a source familiar with the situation, which spoke to TMZ, Ritchson was actually defending himself after being pushed off his motorbike twice by Taylor. This version of events suggests that the punches caught on camera were a form of retaliation rather than an unprovoked attack. The video itself, the source claims, captures only Ritchson's response and not the initial provocations. Ritchson's reputation as a disciplined actor with a strong physical regimen supports the idea that any violence would be measured rather than reckless. He is known for centering himself and maintaining control, as he has mentioned in interviews discussing how he manages pressure. This public image contrasts with the sudden outbreak of violence in this episode, complicating the narrative around his character. The stakes for Ritchson extend beyond the physical altercation itself, as he moves through a phase in his career marked by intense and demanding roles. He recently gained 30 pounds of muscle for an Amazon Prime series role, highlighting his commitment to professionalism and physical fitness. This discipline seems at odds with what some perceive as a loss of control in the neighborhood confrontation. Public statements have been limited, but the sources close to Ritchson emphasize that he was not the instigator and that there is more nuance to the situation than what the footage suggests. This cautious communication strategy points to a desire to avoid speculation while the investigation plays out. The actor appears poised to let the facts take precedence over rumor. Legal authorities have not arrested Ritchson, reflecting the complexity of the case and the need for careful consideration of all perspectives before making charges. This lack of immediate action supports the narrative that the incident involved mutual conflict rather than a straightforward assault. The investigation status leaves many questions unanswered, keeping public interest intensified. The actor's experience playing roles where he explores the duality of good and bad adds a layer of irony to the real-life drama, where his actions are being scrutinized under a similar lens. Fans and critics alike are curious how much of the tough guy persona bleeds into real behavior, and how the public will reconcile these versions of Alan Ritchson. As the investigation continues, Ritchson's legal and personal responses will shape how this chapter affects his career and public image. His ability to maintain composure and address the situation responsibly is under close watch. How he navigates this turbulent moment may define his reputation far beyond typical celebrity news cycles. This unfolding story reveals not only a physical clash, but also a battle over narrative control, with each side presenting compelling arguments that beg for deeper examination. Understanding these competing accounts is essential as we move forward toward clarity and resolution. With both perspectives laid out, the next focus must consider those who witnessed the event firsthand and how their presence influenced the intensity of the confrontation. Witnesses and family involvement. The altercation did not go unnoticed, especially given who was nearby during the confrontation. Alan Ritchson's two sons were reportedly close enough to witness the entire event from motorbikes just a few feet away. Their presence added a deeply personal dimension to what might have otherwise been seen as a typical neighborhood dispute. Watching their father in a physical fight likely left a lasting impression, raising questions about how family dynamics might intersect with public incidents. Other witnesses also played a crucial role in bringing the altercation to light. A nearby resident caught the entire episode on camera, providing footage that quickly spread through social media and news outlets. This video documented the punches, shaping public opinion by showing a moment that otherwise might have been dismissed as hearsay. The immediate sharing of the footage illustrates how quickly private moments can become public spectacles in today's digital age. The presence of multiple observers influenced not only public awareness, but also the tone of the incident itself. Knowing they were being watched may have heightened tensions, as neither party could easily back down without losing face. For Ritchson, a well-known figure, this meant the stakes were even higher. How this visibility affected behavior remains a question, but it undeniably added pressure. Family and neighborhood ties complicated the atmosphere in which the fight took place. Being at home can create a sense of entitlement and vulnerability at the same time, protecting one's property against perceived threats while juggling personal reputation. Ritchson's sons witnessing the trauma could evoke emotional responses that ripple through private life well beyond the immediate aftermath. The incident blurred the lines between public celebrity and private family. The neighbors established their belief that their conflicts will be resolved through peaceful methods or private discussions. The presence of young family members who observe violent incidents creates a situation that breaks this expectation. Exposure to this situation creates two impacts on community relationships, which lead to safety issues and changes in neighborhood social dynamics. The conflict started as a personal matter, but its consequences expanded to affect entire communities that were involved. The onlookers' reactions, which social media posts and comments show, create a clear display of sympathy that the audience members show toward two different parties. Some expressed disappointment in Ritchson, feeling that as a public figure, he should have exercised greater restraint. People who supported him defended his self-defense rights because he faced an attack. People face difficulties when they attempt to evaluate the event through an outside perspective because of this division. The available witness testimony contains limited information beyond the video material. Yet, the scene description that family members and bystanders recorded brings essential evidence to the investigation. Authorities are likely examining these perspectives to build a clearer timeline and motivation. The complete evidence needs this shared view, because video content fails to show all the details needed to understand the situation. The presence of Ritchson's children during their father's violent confrontation creates uncertainty about how the incident affected their emotional state and their upcoming responsibilities in the ongoing situation. Family trauma, which affects people from all walks of life, continues to exist as an invisible force that determines how they will act and respond in the future. The incident presses the issue of how public confrontations affect private lives. The gap between the public image and the personal reality can be stark, especially for actors like Ritchson, whose tough guy roles have defined their careers. Alan's on-screen tough guy image. Alan Ritchson has built a career portraying rugged, physically imposing characters, making him a familiar figure in action and thriller genres. His role as the lead in the Amazon Prime series Reacher showcases a man skilled in combat, calm under pressure, and morally complex. This on-screen toughness contributes to a public perception of him as someone who wields strength responsibly and with precision. To prepare for such demanding parts, Ritchson undertook an intense physical transformation, gaining 30 pounds of muscle to authentically portray his character. This dedication, displayed in interviews and health magazines, underscores his commitment to embodying roles that require both strength and discipline. Fans admire not only his acting, but also the work ethic behind it. Yet, the boundary between his characters and his real life can become blurred in the public eye. When a real fight occurs, especially one so visible, people naturally try to reconcile the two images, the controlled action hero versus the man caught in violent conflict. This blending complicates public reaction, as the audience struggles to separate fiction from reality. Critics and fans alike probe whether traits from Ritchson's roles, such as his character's readiness for combat and willingness to enforce justice, reflect his personality or represent pure performance. His portrayal of morally ambiguous or ruthless figures invites speculation about his true temperament. This contrast invites deeper questions about identity and self-control. Ritchson shared his challenging task of maintaining physical strength, while he needed to control both his thoughts and feelings during interviews. He explained that he uses self-centering techniques to reduce stress and achieve mental clarity. Yet, this practice conflicts with his sudden reactions to neighborhood violence. People behave in unpredictable ways, which results in this behavior pattern becoming their actual behavior. People who watch the actor practice duality, study his work, were not surprised by the situation. The characters in his stories exist between right and wrong because they force viewers to choose their true nature. The street battle outside his residence increased public interest in Alan Ritchson's true identity, which exists beyond his film roles. The public now has divided opinions about his fitness and acting discipline because some people see his fitness and acting discipline as admirable, yet they believe his behavior during the incident was uncharacteristic, while others see his aggressive response as a potential threat to his public image. The actor's professional abilities, which built his reputation, now show signs of weakening. The situation demonstrates how celebrity status and movie characters create public demands that build unrealistic requirements for people to follow in real life. High-profile actors experience stress from their job demands, which makes it difficult for them to respond to personal situations. Ritchson faces major difficulties because his personal life and public life keep overlapping. In understanding the full impact of this confrontation, it is essential to consider how the legal proceedings and investigation will unfold, and what consequences may arise. Legal proceedings and investigation status. Following the violent altercation, local authorities stepped in to assess the situation carefully. Despite the serious nature of the fight and the visible injuries sustained by Ronnie Taylor, Alan Ritchson was not arrested at the scene. Law enforcement officials indicated that further investigation was necessary before making any formal charges. This measured approach suggests that both sides' accounts are being weighed to determine the full context. The presence of video evidence and witness testimonies complicates the inquiry, but also provides important material for investigators. The footage showing Ritchson throwing punches is clear, but as sources state, it captures only part of the story, likely the reactive phase. Authorities must consider pre-fight interactions and possible provocations as they collect statements and review surveillance from the neighborhood. This comprehensive review aims to avoid hasty conclusions. Officials have confirmed that the investigation remains open, indicating that they have yet to finalize any recommendations. Both Ritchson and Taylor may be required to provide further details as the case evolves. The ongoing nature of the inquiry means that the public can expect updates but should withhold judgment until all facts are revealed. Transparency from law enforcement will be key in maintaining trust during this process. The fact that Ritchson was not taken into immediate custody underscores the complexities often involved when public figures are implicated in local disputes. Legal authorities must balance the evidence while navigating public pressures added by the media and fan interest. This caution reflects a desire for fairness and thoroughness despite the high-profile nature of the case. The proceedings become more complex because each party presents different claims about who started the conflict. Taylor claims that Ritchson behaved in a reckless manner while demonstrating physical aggression. Ritchson's side defends his actions as self-defense after he faced dangerous situations. The conflicting stories must be resolved, which will determine whether charges will be brought and what specific charges will be filed. The investigation will determine its outcome through the process of establishing intent and actions. Legal experts predict that if evidence shows both parties engaged in mutual fighting, then the case will end through a negotiated settlement, which may include mediation or reduced legal penalties. The court will impose harsher penalties if the investigation identifies one party as the primary cause of the violent incident. The community and fans remain attentive because the case will establish legal standards that govern how celebrities behave during their private disputes. The actor's legal team probably prepares to defend his actions because they believe the incident occurred in response. Ritchson's defense team will use this legal strategy to demonstrate his character and self-control while showing the events that led to the fight. Taylor's side will demand responsibility from the other party based on the injuries that medical professionals recorded after the fight. The two opposing legal arguments will battle each other during the next few weeks. The authorities assess the neighborhood security situation together with the potential results that would follow from multiple unrestrained disturbances. Their handling of this case will send a message about community standards and consequences for public violence, regardless of status. The current procedural actions will determine how the neighborhood will develop and how people will discuss their individual duties. The legal process will determine the timeline for resolution, which remains unknown at this time because it will reveal what happened and deliver a verdict. The legal investigation has created a situation that people need to understand because it will show how Alan Ritchson's fighting abilities will change his public image. The spotlight on legal outcomes inevitably shines onto the potential career and personal consequences facing the actor as public opinion evolves. Impact on career and reputation. Alan Ritchson's rising career, bolstered by his role in the popular Reacher series and recent appearances in major franchises, faces a possible turning point in the wake of this altercation. How Hollywood and fans respond to news of a violent fight will significantly affect his professional trajectory. Reputation, once largely positive and tied to his strong roles, now hangs in a more precarious balance. Public figures often endure intense scrutiny. How Hollywood and fans really affect his professional established image. For Ritchson, known as a disciplined, tough, but controlled performer, this sudden association with violent behavior can create cognitive dissonance among fans and industry insiders. The question becomes whether this incident is viewed as an isolated lapse or indicative of a deeper character flaw. In today's media environment, negative headlines spread quickly, influencing casting decisions and brand partnerships. Studios may pause or reconsider involvement with actors facing unresolved legal and reputational issues. Although no formal charges have been brought yet, the cloud of investigation can itself cause hesitation within the entertainment industry. This effect can last well beyond the immediate controversy. The legal results and public opinion are evaluated by industry experts while they track the evolving story through social media and news outlets. The fight video creates an overwhelming visual effect, which makes it impossible for Ritchson to use his silent treatment and controlled response to his advantage. Future projects and endorsements will reveal Ritchson's true nature, since his temperament and professional behavior will become apparent through those opportunities. Some fans and colleagues will show their support for the actor by separating his personal life from his performances according to their appreciation of his work. Ritchson's documented dedication to physical training and his preparation methods, plus his deliberate process of developing his character, will help reduce negative views about him. The investigation results will determine if he receives support, which will strengthen his case for innocence or reduced liability. The public's interest in redemption narratives demonstrates that the actor can achieve a comeback when he handles the current situation through honest and responsible actions. The way he will handle his public statements throughout all future time periods will determine his ability to recover. The public responds positively to demonstrations of personal development that show that individuals take responsibility for their actions. The possibility exists that long-term damage to our reputation will occur if we experience negative legal results or if additional damaging information comes to light. The entertainment world has no mercy when public trust begins to decline. Ritchson must handle this crisis through planned actions because his future depends on his decision-making process. The incident raises essential questions about whether celebrities should face punishment for their off-screen conduct and whether their on-screen work should have greater effects than their actual behavior. Fans expect public figures to demonstrate self-control, which creates problems when these individuals work to create their public appearances. Ritchson's situation has become a test case in maintaining image amid real-world conflict. Navigating the legal landscape is only part of the challenge, as public perception and professional opportunities will shape how the story closes. What lies ahead? As the dust begins to settle around the altercation involving Alan Ritchson, the future remains uncertain but pivotal for the actor's personal and professional life. Legal resolution will likely dictate much of what follows, with the investigation's findings shaping potential consequences. Whether charges will be filed or a settlement reached, the outcome will be a critical turning point. Yet, beyond legalities, the way Ritchson navigates public perception will be equally important. The court of public opinion often operates independently from formal proceedings, meaning even a favorable legal outcome may not immediately restore his standing. Fans and industry figures will closely watch how Ritchson rebuilds trust and manages his image. This may involve speaking publicly, demonstrating accountability, or engaging in efforts that restore confidence in his character. Such actions could soften negative responses and open paths to redemption. If Ritchson chooses to address the incident head-on, transparency will be key. Acknowledging the complexity of the situation while expressing regret over the impact can resonate with audiences seeking authenticity. This approach often helps celebrities reclaim control of their narratives during turbulent times. Conversely, silence or defensiveness might prolong uncertainty and suspicion. The possibility of professional repercussions remains real. Casting directors and producers may hesitate to associate with controversy until the matter clears, potentially delaying or complicating upcoming projects. However, the entertainment industry has also shown a willingness to forgive when actors demonstrate genuine change or maintain strong fan support. Ritchson's future roles could depend on striking this balance. The incident demonstrates how public figures handle various pressures while functioning as their permanent public record. The public remains unaware of the challenges that arise when people must manage demanding work requirements combined with their duties to their family and community in tightly connected groups. Ritchson will need to develop new methods for handling both his public responsibilities and his stress management techniques. The family structure will determine their future course of action. The domestic situation requires him to handle his household conflicts because his sons have seen the entire fighting process. The person requires support networks that help him regain strength after public disputes because these networks determine his ability to recover. The ongoing social media platforms and news articles will establish the continuous flow of current events according to their respective narratives. Ritchson's followers and critics will analyze every statement he makes through his interviews and actions. The public relations landscape needs strategic communication, which requires organizations to consider their communication methods to preserve their public image. The way he handles these communication channels will affect both how people feel about him and his chances in the professional world. The current situation offers two potential outcomes because it creates an environment that supports both critical assessment and change. Some actors have successfully used crises as their main drive, which enables them to discover their new public mission, which helps them gain fresh public approval. The upcoming actions of Ritchson will undergo detailed observation because they can create a new way for him to be seen by people in both his professional and personal lives. Alan Ritchson's fight has sparked tough questions about accountability, reputation, and resilience. As the full story unfolds, it reminds us that public figures face pressures far beyond the spotlight. Thanks for watching. If this caught your attention, hit like, subscribe, and tap into the next video on your screen for more stories shaping Hollywood today.